Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am your host, the Dean. Did we just go through a crazy weekend or what? Some of the playoff standings for reality football are starting to fall into place, and we're clearing up a lot of fantasy questions. We're narrowing it down. Some of you were lucky enough to get a bye. I know in our league of record, our two top performers thankfully we're on a bye. Both Charles and the Slutty Mutts and Mandy and the returning champs, both of those teams had probably some of the best performances of the year. There have been better here and there, but on a whole, I believe it was 167 and 177 points scored by both teams respectively. Thankfully, nobody in the playoffs had to play them, so nobody had to get dropped. Unfortunately, we did lose two players this week. We did lose Chris and C's Cowboys, lost to me. So the Dean has advanced. We're going to take a look at our league of record here in just a second. We're also going to take a look at some of those monster performances that we had this weekend. And don't look now, but 3 out of the 4 teams in the NFC East won, including my boys, team formerly known as the Redskins. So they are alone in this top of the NFC least, some would call it. But this week, big performance by the Dallas team, and we'll refer to them as that. But it was against a really weak Cincinnati team. However, they have no control over the schedule. But they got to play who they play. Big performance there. Also, surprising performance from Jalen Hurst and Miles Sanders going up against the Saints. And look, I'm coming to you from South Louisiana, the heart of Cajun country. Look, if anybody had told you that the Saints were going to lose to the Eagles with a rookie quarterback making his first ever start, you would have told them they were crazy. But that's what happened. They didn't just get beat, they got embarrassed. Okay. So, anybody who actually didn't listen to me this week on the Miles Sanders report, good job. Way to go with your gut. Some of you didn't have a choice. So, regardless, good job. Good start. We're going to take a look real quick at my start sit from week 14. Yes, we do have one more game to play. It is the black and blue matchup between the Ravens and the Browns. Some of you out there still have a performance left in the balance, a game left in the balance yet decided. So you might be relying on Nick Chubb. You might be relying on Cleveland's defense. Austin Hooper. If some of you had to go out and start Baker Mayfield, you're waiting on that. Lamar, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews. Some of you guys are waiting on those performances from the Browns and the Ravens in order to wrap up your fantasy week. I know myself, I am waiting for this Monday night performance for my other league, my listener league from 103.7 The Game here in Lafayette. But aside from that, I'm done for this week. Let's go ahead and, let's go over the start sets real quick for week 14. I told you guys, Phillip Rivers going up against Vegas, outstanding. As a matter of fact, let's just pull this up real quick, and we'll go over some scores. And you guys know what time it is. Anytime we do a screen share, it is time to share with you my sponsors of the week. Sponsor of the week this week is going to be Keller's Bakery, 627 Lafayette Street off the Youngsville Highway. If you're looking for something sweet for the holidays, maybe you need a pie for Christmas dinner, give them a call or go find them on Facebook. Keller's Bakery. They do take orders there. Get you a pecan pie. They have the 9-inch variety. They have the 4-inch personal variety if you want. Maybe you don't like pecan. Maybe maybe you want apple or coconut, lemon, whatever. Whatever you want for yourself. Get you a little 4-inch. Get you a big 9-inch one for the family. Bring it in. You will be the hit of Christmas for this year. Okay. Pardon me. No, it's not COVID. Just a little dry cough here. We got the heater on, and as you can tell by my apparel, we got a little cold snap going on down here in South Louisiana. Nothing like the guys up in Buffalo were dealing with last night, when Buffalo actually went out and handed the Steelers their second loss in a row. So here's the crazy thing. We're going to look at the quarterbacks real quick. Here's the top performing quarterbacks for week 14. Aaron Rodgers, as you see right there, and then it gets crazy. Drew Lock, Tua Tagovailoa at 3, Mitch Trubisky at 4, Russell Wilson at 5, not a big shocker there. Derek Carr at 6, Taysom Hill in a losing effort at 7, Patrick Mahomes at 8, Josh Allen at 9, Jalen Hurts coming into the top 10, 167 yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 106 yards rushing. Guys, that's crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think the Saints have allowed a 100-yard rusher in about the last 5 weeks, at least. Not only did they allow a quarterback to run on them, they allowed a running back, Miles Sanders, to run all over them as well. And then we see Philip Rivers coming in with a top 12 performance, rounding it out. The top 12 is Ryan Tannehill with 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. And you might be thinking, okay, Dean, why do you stop at 12? Well, here's the thing. Most leagues that you're going to be in, most formats you're going to play, is going to be 12 teams. So these are your top 12 performances. These are the guys that should have been starting every single team. Okay. Now, yes, there are guys that are on this list, like the very next one that you probably had starting, Kyler Murray, but just barely missed it. And then Teddy B, not a bad performance here either. He had the 14th best. So I'm going to take that as a win for my start of the week. We see him, and we see Matt Stafford. And we're going to roll down here just a little bit to catch Stafford. You see Matt Stafford here with 16.36. Now, he actually, if I'm not mistaken, exited this game a little early with a rib injury. And anyone who's followed the Saints and Drew Brees knows that the rib injury, it can be a little tricky. Also, that is how Tyrod Taylor lost his job to Justin Herbert in week 2 with that shot to the ribs and that slip needle with a punctured lung. But my start of the weeks at quarterback, we had Philip Rivers, as we see here with top 12 performance. Matt Stafford, not really that bad. I'm not going to take a win on that one. I will take a win on the Teddy B versus Denver. Drew Lock. Anybody out there who had the guts to start Drew Lock and Mitch Trubisky and Tua, good job. You got a really, really nice boost there. Now, moving forward, what does this tell us? This tells us that Carolina's defense is not what you thought it was. So there was a lot of people that were advocating to go out and get Carolina's defense going up against Drew Lock, thought that he was going to fall apart. We've seen this kind of up and down with Drew Lock. You can trust him, you can't trust him. You trust him, you can't trust him. Look, this is the fantasy football playoffs. This is not a time to get cute. This is not a time to, go out on a limb for this. But if you're in a pinch, if you have quarterback issues, and if you've gotten to this point You've gotten to this point because you have a good, strong lineup. So you're probably not dealing with a Drew Lock issue. But somebody gets hurt, if you've been streaming quarterbacks and you've been lucky enough to slide into the final 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs, congratulations. Don't know if you still want to roll the dice with Drew Lock, though. But we're going to get into that in just a second because I'm going to give you my week 15 start sets coming up. So we see Lamar is yet to play. Kirk Cousins. We see Kirk Cousins down here. He was a sit for me. 225 and a touchdown. Only got you 19 points. This is not the performance that you were looking for from Kirk Cousins. You're looking for well over 20. We're talking 25 to 30. It was against Tampa Bay. And not really that great. Also, the other one, the person I told you to set was Jared Goff. And we see Jared Goff down here with 16 points, only 137 yards, an interception, and 1 touchdown. I believe, let's see, that is a rushing touchdown. Yes, he had a rushing touchdown as well, punched one in. So gave you good production there, but on the whole, as we see down here, only 16 points. Now we bumped that to 18, then he jumps up just above Deshaun Watson and just below Kirk Cousins. So not too bad. I'll take the win on that one. Now running backs. Derek Yeti, beast mode, and then we see the rest of the top 5 here. Jonathan Taylor showing up big against Vegas, but that's what we've come to expect from Vegas. I told you guys to start David Montgomery, and David Montgomery comes in as the number 4. I told you not to start Miles Sanders. He came in as number 3, so the Dean will take an L on that one. Mike Davis, definitely the guy that you wanted to play. If you were a Christian McCaffrey owner, you were hating this unless you were lucky enough to pick him up and keep a hold of him, because when the news came out that CMC might see daylight, some people did go out and drop Mike Davis to try to pick up some other pieces to complete the roster. If you were smart enough, lucky enough, fortunate enough, however you want to put it, to keep hold of Mike Davis, you are loving life right now. Cam Akers, another one that was off the waiver wire, who hit me in both leagues. Not really. I really didn't have the room on my roster for him, but if you needed it and you went out and got him, you were very happy with that situation. Another guy I told you to go out and start was Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones down here with a 15-point performance, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Let's see. You got the 1 reception for 4 yards. We see DeAndre Swift, 24 yards, saved his fantasy week with a touchdown and those 4 receptions. If we take away the touchdown, I'm not really encouraged by that. It should have been a whole lot more against a bad Green Bay rushing defense. James Conner, I had said to start with the asterisk if he played. Now, for whatever reason, he wasn't getting out on the field. I don't know if they're trying to ease him back in or what. So I'll take the L on that one. Also taking an L on AP, but AP apparently was splitting time with DeAndre Swift. Raheem Mostert against Washington. Mostert did absolutely nothing. The good thing for those Raheem Mostert owners is next week's contest is against Dallas. So hold on to them. Hold out hope. You'll be okay. All right. We see Aaron Jones down here at the bottom with only a 9-point performance, almost 10. Now, the reason for this is because this was just a pass-happy day for Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers just took it over. It's like, have a seat. It'll be okay. I'll take it from here. Kareem Hunt is yet to play, so we'll wait and see what happens there. My boy T.Y. Hilton going in. We're going into the receivers right now. My boy T.Y. absolutely shined this week. We see him right here, number 6. And this is kind of a list of the usual suspects, with the exception of Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson was on my start list along with Corey Davis, so I'll take the L on Corey Davis. Did not do well, but T.Y. Hilton, Allen Robinson, definite hits for the Dean. Stephon Diggs, not so much. I had advised to sit Stephon Diggs, and he winds up as the wide receiver 1, of course. And then any Minnesota receiver, look, Justin Jefferson didn't do anything for you. Adam Thielen didn't do anything for you. So if you listen to me on that one, good job. Jarvis Landry has yet to play, so we're waiting to see on that one. Tight ends, Mike Gesicki getting sicky with it. Okay. Mike Gesicki turns out the number 2 tight end performance this week. He and Travis Kelce at the top. And Travis Kelce, just a little side note here. Travis Kelce has a top 10 performance in every single week, with the exception of his bye week in week 7, which was the Storm game that they played. It was just horrible weather, and all he did was run the ball. So Gesicki was a start for me this week, along with Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas gave you a double-digit points, did not find the end zone, but did have 6 receptions for 43 yards. Not too shabby in the tight end land. Let's see. We see 2 really good performances from the Vegas tight ends. Jared Cook actually having a decent day with the Saints, even though they lost. Robert Tonyan, as I said, was beneficiary of a touchdown, and he's actually, if he's a free agent in your league, go pick him up moving forward. Now, the guys I told you to sit, Noah Fant, who ended up not even playing, and Tyler Higbee. If I'm not mistaken, we have to go to the other screen to find Higbee. Or do we? Here we are. Here's the bottom of the first screen. 2 receptions, 34 yards. Not what you're looking for during a playoff run for yourself. So, defense, as I told you to start, number 1 defense. And guys, I hit 3 out of 4 on this one, so not too bad. Chicago's defense really surprised by holding Houston as low as they did. Miami bombed against KC. Seattle was playing the Jets. And then my boys Washington scoring big, 2 TDs, 2 defensive touchdowns, 4 sacks, 1 interception, and 2 fumble recoveries. We see Dallas actually getting on the board up here, and that was just crazy. I knew Cincinnati was bad. I didn't know they were that bad. And this can be one of, moving forward, this is definitely a defense to target if the Cowboys are out there doing what they did. Also, Houston with Chicago. Miami just tripped up, but they were playing KC, so that's excusable there. Let's see. And Seahawks put up a 12-point performance. So let's see. They had 3 sacks, a fumble, and only allowed 3 points to the Jets. So not too shabby. Now let's get into this week coming up. Now, if you guys are like me, moving forward, we're going into week 15. The matchups are not set yet for your league because we still have one more game left to go. So we will be reviewing this tomorrow. But I want to throw some things out there for you. This week, start of the week at quarterback, we're looking at Big Ben versus Cincy. I told you this is a team to target. Tom Brady versus Atlanta. You talk about a plus matchup. There is no better plus matchup than Atlanta right now. Philip Rivers versus Houston. We saw what happened in Houston this past week with Mitch Trubisky. Now, if Mitch Trubisky can get that kind of production, then I'm pretty sure that Philip Rivers can definitely get it with Houston. Sits of the week. We saw what Chicago did against Deshaun Watson. Now they get Kirk Cousins. You know, I love my boy Kirk, Captain Kirk, but with that said, he is no Deshaun Watson. And I will tell you right now that I would not be trusting that going forward. So, also set of the week, some of you might be rolling with Taysom Hill. Please back off the Taysom Hill train. I believe it is coming into the station and it is being parked. I would not be surprised after this performance to see Jameis Winston or even Drew Brees. Look, Brady won. They're playing Atlanta. The Saints don't want to lose their playoff advantage. They already are down a game to Green Bay, who is top of the NFC. So if they lose the home field advantage, pardon me, throughout the playoffs, even though coaches are saying, hey, it's no big deal, there's no fans, this, that, the other. Look, with the way that COVID is going right now and all the travel restrictions and all the uncertainties with the travel, nobody's going to want to go anywhere. So if you can stay home and play playoff football throughout the playoffs, that's what they're going to gun for. So look for Taysom Hill to be either on a short leash or be replaced by either Jameis Winston or them wind up rushing Breeze back. I wouldn't put anything past them. Now we see Deshaun Watson. We saw what happened last week against Chicago. He goes up against an even better Indy squad. Got DeForest Buckner and company coming in town. So I would definitely be sitting Deshaun Watson this week if you have the ability to do so. 1 second, guys. You know, text from the missus takes precedence. So. Okay, so that's it for start sets for quarterback. At running back, Mike Davis going against Green Bay. Look, we've been talking about how porous this defense is against the run. We know that you can't really throw on them too much, but you can definitely run. I don't see CMC coming back. There's really nothing for Carolina to play for. They're not playing for a draft pick. They're not playing for a playoff spot. They're kind of stuck in that middle range where they're just not having a good season. So I would not be surprised if CMC gets shut down for the year. Keep an eye on it because you never know. But if CMC gets shut down for the year, Mike Davis definitely good play moving forward because he's going to be playing basically for a new contract or a new team because there's going to be somebody out there that's going to want a running back that's got the production that he has. Also, Kenyon Drake. Look, Kenyon Drake looked really good this past week. So going up against a Philly team coming off of a high, I think they're going to come a little bit down to earth. There's going to be a lot of targets to be had. This is not the Saints, okay? They're not playing Taysom Hill again. So they're playing Kyler Murray, mobile quarterback, and yes, is Taysom Hill mobile quarterback? Yeah, but he's not on the same level of Kyler Murray, especially with passing. Kyler has made strides light years ahead of Taysom Hill from last year to this year and is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. So with D-Hop, Christian Kirk, Darnold at tight end, Kenyon Drake in the backfield, coming out of the backfield, this is going to look a lot like the Saints offense this past week, but on a different level. So now having some film on Jalen Hurts, knowing what they're going to get from this defense, then Arizona can make preparation. And don't be surprised if Kenyon Drake has as good or better performance this week than he did last week. Also, if you weren't a believer in the late season surge of Jonathan Taylor, you should be this week going up against Houston. Look, we saw what David Montgomery did. David Montgomery is not the bruiser that Jonathan Taylor is. Jonathan Taylor is going to be involved in the passing as well as be the heart of the run game. So go ahead and plug him in and have at it, be happy. Now, we saw what Washington did this past week. Okay. Shut down San Fran's run game. And I think that they can probably do the same thing to Chris Carson, which means that, look, Russ is Russ, and Russ is going to get his regardless. Who he's going to get it to is yet to be determined. We saw DK Metcalf not have that good of a game. We saw Tyler Lockett not have his normal production. So with those two guys not really jiving right now, going up against a really tough Washington team who just shuts teams down, I don't think that you can rely on Chris Carson going into Week 15 trying to get you that into the Super Bowl for fantasy. Also, Zeke is going up against San Fran. Look, San Fran's still a good D. Okay, they didn't even give up a touchdown. It was the offense that gave 2 defensive touchdowns to Washington. That's how they lost. So San Fran still don't let that loss to Washington fool you into thinking that, San Fran's not a good team. If you didn't watch this game, if you didn't know what was going on, and you just looked at the score, you would think that they allowed a hobbled Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins to beat them. That's not the case. The case is that the Washington defense was just bonkers, just going bananas on San Fran. So this is not going to be the same game. Zeke has not been the same. He's almost even split with Tony Pollard at this point. He's got a calf injury. So please, if you've been fortunate enough to get Zeke in this far, lay off, stop rolling the dice, get somebody else. So even if it's Tony Pollard, okay, because Pollard was the one who got the touchdown for you. He actually had a better fantasy production day than Zeke did. Next guy, I wanted to put James Robinson here, but I can't just because he's the only game in town. There's nobody that he's splitting time with. So just based on sheer volume, he should be a good play for you moving forward in the fantasy playoffs. So I'm putting DeAndre Swift. And you might go, well, wait a minute. Didn't he have a good game? Yes, he did. However, it was against Green Bay. and we've already talked about how porous that run defense is. He's going up against Tennessee. The Titans are a really good run defense. They had a really good performance this past week. So I don't really trust DeAndre Swift at this point. Wide receivers moving forward for week 15, trying to get you into the fantasy playoffs. Allen Robinson versus Minnesota. Minnesota is not that good of a defense. They've fallen off so much, it's not even funny. And are they playing for something? Yes, but so is Chicago. So I would definitely have Allen Robinson. The way that Mitch Trubisky has been playing since he's been back is like that kick in the pants really paid off. So sitting at time on the bench, I don't think he wants to go back. So he definitely found the big guy in Allen Robinson and is going to feed him repeatedly come the matchup against Minnesota. Terry McLaurin versus Seattle. Look, this is a really bad secondary. I know Terry McLaurin has not been there for you. He's not been there for me. Okay. And you guys know, you already know. Okay. I'm here. I'm a diehard DC fan. So plug in Terry McLaurin against Seattle. There's something to play for. They want to win this division. They are showing that. The defense is proving that. Now, who's going to be throwing them the ball? That's yet to be seen. So keep an eye on that, and that could influence you a little bit. I'm putting Corey Davis back on the start list, even though he burned me last week. He's going against Detroit. Guys, it's Detroit. Anybody can have it. I could have a good game against Detroit, okay? So plug him in if you need help at wide receiver. Guys that you want to avoid at wide receiver, you want to avoid Calvin Ridley against Tampa Bay, Amari Cooper against San Fran, and any of the wide receivers from Minnesota again, because their matchup down the stretch is not a pretty one. Okay, they're going against Chicago, and we just saw what Chicago did to Houston. It's not that difficult to draw a line from point A to point B and go, okay, they did this to Houston, and they got Deshaun Watson, and I don't think that they're going to be able to do the same thing. This is, Kirk Cousins, kind of little different level, but I'm still not confident in starting any of the wide receivers from Minnesota this week. As far as defenses go, I'm going to run you down. This is a defensive week because I can make a case, and I will show you real quick before we wrap this up. I want to show you defenses. Here's the schedule for week 15. San Fran gets Dallas. Okay. Chicago gets Minnesota. Pittsburgh gets Cincinnati. The Bills going to Denver. Now that might be a weather game right there, guys. So keep an eye on that. We see Cleveland goes to New York. And look, this is the thing. I told you guys about 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, that the Browns were going to go through a stretch where they had a really tough matchup, but then the tail end, the last 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs, the semifinals and the Super Bowl for fantasy, that the Browns were going to be a team that you wanted to have. We got a dinged up Daniel Jones in New York. We've got a 0-13 or 0-14 now team with the Jets. The Browns get them back to back. So week 15 is going to be the Giants. Week 16 is going to be the Jets. Unless I'm going to miss my guess, Cleveland's probably just going to stay in New York because they're playing both New York teams just to cut down on travel. They're going to be used to the elements. Okay. I don't care what kind of weather it is. neither one of these New York teams is going to do well. Okay. And then Tampa Bay, if you've been stashing the Bucks, if you've been riding the Bucks, congratulations. Down the stretch, you get a really good matchup. Atlanta and then Detroit. Okay. There's not a whole lot of teams that are probably on your roster that I'm going to be able to tell you don't start them. We see the Dolphins get New England. Now, here's the thing. This might be a defensive battle simply because we saw what Bill Belichick does to rookie quarterbacks when he went 45-0 with the Chargers and they shut down Justin Herbert and that freight train that had been gaining speed all season. Now they get Tua Tagovailoa, who has been in and out of the lineup all season since the bye week. Okay. So if there's going to be one team that is going to shut Miami down offensively, is going to be New England's defense. But then you have Miami's defense, who is going to probably wreak havoc in the backfield. Look, Cam's not what he used to be. So this right here is a game where you could honestly start both defenses and probably wind up being really happy with the performance on either end. We talked about the Eagles in Arizona. And that's probably going to be it. So there's a lot. There is going to be a lot of defenses that you can start this week. Like I said before, guys, go with your gut on this one. Look at the injury report coming out on Tuesday. Unless I miss my guess, there is no more Thursday games. We do have a Saturday game, a bunch of Saturday games. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on that, and we will go over those tomorrow when we run down the injury report coming out of the weekend, and we finalize the semifinals for fantasy playoffs. So, guys, I hope that helps. And do me a favor, we're starting to wind down the season. We've only got 2 weeks left. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Moving forward, if you guys want to see some more content next season on Fantasy Football Academy 2020, do me a favor, down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share, and leave your comment. Let me know if this channel helped out, because I'm here for you guys. I help myself out when I do this because I talk through some things that I'm doing for my own league. It kind of helps me, be a better fantasy player. Because remember, guys, first and foremost, I'm not just an analyst. I'm a player just like you guys. I just make it a point to maybe dive a little deeper or than you might have time for. I try to make time for you guys. So with that said, down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share, please. And leave me your comment. Let me know if I helped you out this season. Okay, guys? First inaugural season. I hope we did well. We still got 2 weeks left. So, guys, stay tuned. If you need some help getting yourself to the championship, let me know. So, for Fantasy Football Academy 2020, I'm the Dean. You guys are awesome. And good luck this coming week. And good luck tonight if you need some help.